Welcome to another edition of the Touchdown Club Coaches Show. Coach Masella, Max Rottenecker. Coach, you've mentioned this before on the show. You're down a lot of players, but a bunch of people stepped up on Saturday at the quarterback position, running back position, and on defense all over the field.
Yeah, we're kind of banged up, but it is what it is. So Quincy Barnes got the start on Saturday and did just an unbelievable job for us. And then, across the board, we had a lot of young guys step up and play well. On defense, we had some young guys step up. Travis Laster has gotten better and better. We had to move Ahmad Lyons to corner, and he had a big game as a corner for us. So that forced who else? Our safeties into play. Justin Smith and he played well, and then up front we had a bunch of guys play well. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, we're just really banged up, and a lot of fresh faces come in, week out, and they've been doing a good job. I mean, again, we're a few plays short, but and that was on us. And that's the thing I've stressed to our team is that we're putting ourselves in positions to win football games, but we haven't executed in the fourth quarter of games, and it showed on Saturday. Again, we have a procedure penalty on the first 2-point try. We turned it over in some big spots. We snapped it over the quarterback's head in another big spot, and it's really preventing us from winning football games.
You did talk about some big performances. Offensively, the run game stuck out on Saturday. It's the first time that a Wagner football team's rushed over 300 yards since the season finale of 2018. So what does that say about the growth of your offensive line specifically?
Well, I thought that was there was great improvement on Saturday at our O-line and what they did. I mean, for all those young kids playing, I thought they handled the twist game and the movement pretty well, and they got on the right people, and we still have some issues with pass protection, but that's more physical right now than it is anything else. But I think you got to give a lot of credit to Quincy Barnes and for what he did. He's a student of the game. He works at it real hard, and for him to have an opportunity to come in and play as well as he did and move our offense as well as he did, it tells you that when that quarterback position is a student of the game, you can do things even when you don't have all the complement of players out there. And he certainly did a great job for us and made the right reads in the run game and pulled it when he had to and handed it off when he had to, and he just did a great job with it. But that was a collective team effort on offense, the way we ran the ball, and that's a good sign. We want to be able to run the ball and run it well, and certainly Saturday was the first time I thought that we ran the ball when we wanted to run it, not opposed to when we had to run it or any other situation.
Now, you mentioned Ahmad Lyons had to move to corner. He's a captain on your team, a great leader who's usually at safety, and that transition can't be easy. How much does that transition say about him as a player and an athlete, but also a student of the game?
I came off the field saying we should have made that move a long time ago, because what it shows you is when you get great corner play in the boundary, it frees up a lot of other people, and certainly, Ahmad's been just a great player here, and he's been a great leader and a great person. And finally for him to step up into the spotlight and get his just due. He had a great game on Saturday, and really, when you look at it, he allowed us to do other things defensively because of the way he played.
Now another chance, another opportunity, 2 games left. We're going to preview Sacred Heart after the break. It's the Touchdown Club Coaches Show on NEC Front Row.
At Wagner College, we have this beautiful campus where I get to know my professors and I make great friends.
I've gotten really involved in the local community, leading theater programs. At the same time, New York City surrounds us, so I can get internships at prestigious organizations, explore cultures from all over the world,
and experience just life as a city girl.
At Wagner, I learn by doing. It's practical. It's the Wagner plan.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools, for nearly 500,000 student athletes, college sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
Welcome back to the show. Time to preview Sacred Heart, the league leaders. A tough task. You're traveling to Connecticut with one of the best offensive players in the league back from injury. What did you see on tape so far from the Pioneers?
Yeah, I mean, they're a big, strong offense that runs the ball really, really well, and the quarterbacks, they played a couple, were 10 of 12 on Saturday because you're loading up the box to stop Mr. Chestnut and their run game, and their other running back has had a great year. He's a New York local guy who's had a great year. He's rushed for 1,000 yards already. So, you're going to have to stop the run going in to stop the run and pick your spots in coverage. But offensively, they're the real deal offensively. Been that way for a few years. They're a physical group. Their O-line and tight ends are physical people that knock people off the ball. And I think Saturday they ran the ball 50 times and did a great job against controlling the line of scrimmage against St. Francis. And then on the other side of the ball, they complement their offense really well. They're a turnover team, cause a lot of turnovers. They're aggressive on defense. They play really well, complementary football, offense and defense. But their defense is probably one of the better defenses in our league, if not the best defense. So, we have our hands full, and we got to go out and find ways to move the football and run the football, and we got to find ways to eliminate big plays and stop the run on the other side of the ball.
Now, we talked a little bit about the kicking game last week, and this week again, you went into the big bag of tricks and stole a possession on a fake punt. How much of that was situational? When was that already in the playbook in training camp, or was that something that you saw on film?
No, we've run it. We practice all our fake, field goal fake punts put them in preseason camp, and we run them every week. And if the right situation presents itself, I'm not afraid to call it. I thought we had the right look at the right time. I would have liked the ball to be off the hash a little bit more, but we had the right look, earlier in the game, and that was the right time. It was a 4th and 5, and we were kind of reeling a little bit and trying to get something going on offense. And I thought, our kids executed it extremely well, and we got another first down and held on to the ball. That gave our defense a little breather and kind of created field position for the rest of the game. So, it's something that you look at, each week and see if you have something there. And if you do, and the right situation presents itself, you call it. So, I was disappointed over, when special teams Saturday, we had to win special teams. And for the first time, I thought we got beat up a little bit. Even though we blocked the punt, ran a successful fake, and had a big kickoff return, that punt that they returned for a touchdown kind of broke our backs a little bit. And give Merrimack credit. They executed it. He faked like it was a fair catch. Our kids froze for a moment, and they never recovered. We bounced off them a couple times, and now it's a 76-yard touchdown run with 30 seconds to go in the first half. So, that kind of stung us a little bit, and they had some big returns on with their kickoff return team, which we knew going in was going to be a challenge. But a little disappointed in the way our special teams executed overall, and that was the first time I thought we got manhandled a little bit with special teams, and obviously the fake fair catch, whatever you want to call it, was a backbreaker.
What's a way to defend this? I mean, you obviously don't want to be early, and there's been a few occasions this season where, and you see it on TV every week, where the guy calls for a fair catch, you blow him up early, it's 15 yards, so the players want to avoid the penalty. So is there something that in the rule book, are you allowed to like softly wrap up?
No, you're not. Listen, we got caught, Saturday. We've talked to our team, but I have to do a better job. We told him that kid doesn't fair catch the ball. He hasn't fair caught it all year, very few. And we got caught, napping on that play, and it certainly caused us. The other thing is missing the extra point early in the game. we were always behind, so it didn't allow us to do other things, like kick a field goal. We were down 8, and I didn't want to go down 2 scores to them. So instead of kicking a field goal in one of the situations in the third quarter, we went for it on 4th and 4, didn't get it. And then you're chasing that 1 point, and we were chasing that 1 point from the first quarter on, and it wasn't a good day for our special teams. And I coach the special teams. Overall, we've been pretty solid, but I got to do a better job in getting our kids to understand how important special teams are, and I didn't do a good enough job Saturday.
One bright spot, though, on the looking at the box score is I think it was a season low in penalty yards, and so as the season's progressing, I know you mentioned earlier in the season that penalties were an issue early on, and it looks like your team is starting to become a lot more disciplined. Is that just more reps for young players?
I think it's a combination. I think our kids are understanding that there's certain things we can control, and we have to control those variables, and we're doing a better job. Our young guys are gaining experience playing and understanding that people are gonna, move the front pre-snap, post-snap, and they have to be able to handle it pre and post-snap. And I thought Saturday our young offensive line did a really nice job. I thought we got them to jump a couple times, and defensively we did a better job. We're doing a better job of emphasizing go on movement, not on cadence or hard count. So there were a lot of good things Saturday. The overall good thing is our kids came out and played hard, and that was a good thing to see. And they've done that in most of our conference games. We've come out and competed, but it's no consolation. We haven't gotten a W to show for it, and we got another opportunity this week.
Another opportunity this week. We're going to take another break. This is the Touchdown Club Coaches Show on NEC Front Row.
To the belt and delivers. With his third goal of the tournament. Shot! No! Fling by Braxton is good at the buzzer. Would you believe it? Allegro dumps inside. Eddie, another shot. She scores!
Welcome back to the show. Looking at, you mentioned your young offensive line, and obviously as a head coach, you have a vision for what your players should look like. And I know there's there's obviously hundreds of college football teams in the country, and coaches have different ways of the way they want their roster to look, from people that just want tight ends that like to block to then play offensive line for them a couple of years down the road, to people who only take tall receivers or something else. So what is your blueprint for the players that you're looking for?
Well, we just talked about it again. Listen, bigger, stronger, faster is always a pretty good blueprint. But, you look at our team, and I said it to our team the other day, I'd like to go out and win pregame. When I look at their O-line and I look at ours, I see a smaller group right now, but that's just where we are developing. Doesn't mean they won't get there, they will. But I think, we look at it, at receiver, and we have to get longer at receiver. And I've said that to our staff in recruiting meetings. We have a lot of nice players at receiver, but we really don't have big receivers. We have a young Jaden Barrett, who's long 6'5" receiver that's going to be a good player. But when you look at it, we have to get bigger, and it's not always it's not always easy to find those guys. But you really got to be patient and say, okay, this is the model we're looking for across the board. If you start taking exceptions, you'll have a room full of exceptions. So, you got to be able to, when you take an exception, he better be a great player. But, you know, we want our old linemen to be 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". Same at tight end, same in receiver. We want receivers, you know, 6'1", 6'2", or better. And, you know, that goes at corner, that goes across the board in our defensive line. Our will linebackers, we want 6'4", 6'5". Our Mike and Zip inside backers, we want bigger. So, you know, the thing is for us is this is what we're looking for. And if they don't fit that profile, if you're going to take that player, he better be an unbelievable player. Because if you don't, if you just take that and settle, and I don't mean that and settle, if you just take all guys that, you know, are good players in high school, they may not develop to the type of college player you want. So I think it's more recruiting than anything else. And I look at it. Wagner's O-line has always been big. For years, even when I was a player, they were big. They're still big. So that's a recruiting philosophy that's held. From a receiver process, I want long receivers who can run. And because it's easier for the quarterback to throw the ball. We don't have that right now. I'll go on the defensive line. Where we've recruited guys that probably that should be taller, and we have to do a good job of making sure that we stick to that. We have some young D linemen who are good football players. That happened in our first year here, and they were more of a byproduct of the recruiting process of the last philosophy. So, you know, you look at will linebacker, you know, Titus Leo, Cam Gill, those guys are 6'3", 6'4". Those are difference makers. But you got to stick to that. Lennox Lamar is a 6'4", 6'5" guy. So you have to stick to that belief that you're going to find those guys and develop those guys. And those are hard to find at our level, because if they have size, a lot of time they're going somewhere else. But, you know, they're out there. You just got to stick to what you believe, stick to your profile of what you're looking for in athletes, and over time that will in turn, you'll have the team that you want when you look out on the field pregame.
Now this brings me to my you just laid it all out there. But the question that I have is, whenever I watch like the very little amount of huddle tape that I will watch, usually around signing day when I prepare some stuff on some guys that you're interested in, and everyone looks amazing, right? And I'm sure there's tons of good players out there, and sometimes a player will be listed, you know, he lists himself at 6'3", 6'4", and then, you know, you kind of do the eye test and you're like, maybe it's not that. So you obviously have a lot of experience recruiting, so how do you even go and look at all this film of all these players who are flat out dominant in high school football, and then decide, will this kind of domination translate to the college?
Well, I think there's such a different levels of high school football from area to area. So when we identify somebody on film, okay, I'm not offering somebody off of film, because exactly 6'4" becomes 6'2" in a hurry. Mm-hmm. We sit in our staff meeting room, and the first question I ask is, how tall is he? Well, the other day we were in a staff meeting, and he started out at 6 foot, and by the end of it he was 5'9". I said, there's a big difference between 6 foot and 5'9". So obviously we hadn't seen that kid physically yet. And before you can pull the trigger and offer kids, you better verify how big they are. And that's almost impossible to do on film. And no offense to high school coaches, but you know, like I said, 6'4", 6'5" becomes 6'2", 6'1" in a heartbeat. And so we have to do our due diligence. And again, if we're going to take somebody undersized, and it could be, he could be 6'5", but it's got thin shoulders, so we're projecting him to be 290 pounds. Well, he can never get to 290. Our coach has got to be aware of the frame on that player too. So, you know, there's the film side, then there's the character side, and then there's the physical side. Can you project somebody? The other thing on film is you see a lot of offensive linemen dominate little defensive linemen.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Well, listen, you can, if I line up at D tackle at my size, a 300-pounder or a 280-pounder should dominate me. And that's the other thing is when you're watching film, you're looking at O-linemen, who are they going against?
Yeah.
As an O-lineman, if you're going against a 5'9", 200-pound defensive tackle, that's not a real good film to watch. So we have to watch more game film, and the highlight films are great of evaluating or identifying players. But then you want to go watch their game film and see them play and see what type of player, see what type of makeup they have. There's a lot that goes into it, and you look at the NFL, they make mistakes all the time, and they have a lot of money invested in it. So, it's not an exact science, but if you put the parameters of what you're looking for in an individual player or an individual position, you'll probably make less mistakes. And I always say this to our coaches: if we're going to make a mistake, make a big mistake. Make it because he's
too big.
not athletic, as opposed to he's never going to get to what we want.
Great insight there. Thank you, Coach. Looking forward to the future there, because obviously it is November already, and the next signing period is just over a month. Just over a month away. Yeah, so I'm sure you're getting some commitments during the season.
Yep, we have. Yeah.
But yeah, so great insight there. Thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. This was the Touchdown Club Coaches Show on NEC Front Row.